Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: should sex work be regarded / respected the same as any other job? Why or why not? This guy wants us to write his debate paper. The best way to get Reddit to do your homework for you is to confidently and smugly take the opposite position of what you want to write about, and some Reddit nerd will write 10,000 words with sources and MLA formatting to prove you wrong. If Op went to a different subreddit like Change My View and said sex workers should not be regarded or respected the same as any other job, he'd have 1,000 comments giving him all the info he needs. Smugly take the opposite position of what you want to write about, and some Reddit nerd will write 10,000 words with sources and MLA formatting to prove you wrong. He would get downvoted to oblivion but would get the work done. Next feature chapter of content taken from Reddit. Reddit, who were the most important labor organizers of the 1930s, and how did they change the perception of Marxism in Midwestern America? I was wondering, could you give me some insight into the evolution of the market economy in the southern colonies? My contention is that, prior to the Revolutionary War, the economic modalities, especially in the southern colonies, could most aptly be characterized as agrarian pre-capitalize. Regarded by the law as legal and protected by labor laws is one thing. Respect by every member of society is another. My gripe with this conversation every time it's brought up is you have people using different definitions of respect. There is deep admiration for someone, and then there's due regard for the feelings, wishes, rights, or traditions of others. IMO simply being a sex worker is no reason for deep admiration of someone, but they certainly deserve to be treated with decency until they've given others a reason not to, like anyone else. All I know is you cook your own food at home and then go out and are impressed when a cook works up a bomb meal. You can cut your hair yourself, but will be impressed and respect the barber / hairstylist who does a great job. You fuck at home, so why not also applaud the people who you know what? Forget it. This right here. Why isn't sex work worthy of respect? If you consider that safe and regulated sex work is not some seedy, back alley operation, then why wouldn't it be the same as any other physical care service? I saw a documentary about a sex work service for the disabled and those who could not perform it themselves. Imagine if you had no arms or were disabled in a way that you couldn't use your hands. Wouldn't you like to be able to call a service to come, or visit, to masturbate you? Because sexual activity is inherent to human mental health, this kind of service is wellness, not something nefarious. Even if you just wanted to knock the dust off after a bad breakup or travel too much to have a regular partner, wouldn't it be better to have a service that is safe and regulated and costs well? No one is being exploited, the person providing the service is well compensated, and you have peace of mind that you are commingling genitals with a person regularly screened for STIs. Win-win. Edit. This is the first time I have ever been gilded, and I am fucking ecstatic that the subject matter is sex work. I love Reddit. I'm never cutting my own hair. Don't know about respected, can't force people to respect it more. It should be made safer, that's enough. I think this question conflates feeling respect and treating something with respect. Nobody can tell themselves or anyone else what to feel with any degree of success. What we are able to control is how we treat the people around us and the choices they make. I think what Op is getting at is, should those who choose to engage in this behavior be treated with respect? I think we can all agree that all humans deserve to be treated with a certain baseline of respect. Legalizing and regulating the sex industry would help to ensure that sex workers were afforded that baseline of respect also. There is an innate problem with your question, as it assumes that all normal jobs are currently regarded and respected the same. Sex work should be legal and regulated like any other professional industry. This would make it safer, which would help remove that part of the stigma. People will still think whatever they think of it, just like they do any other profession. As a caveat, it's absolutely absurd that having sex for money is illegal if you do it in your own privacy, but if you record and sell the footage it's perfectly fine. If COVID has taught us anything, it's that it seems there are plenty of jobs where people are expected to risk their lives to basically subsist without any expectation of improving their lot. Most workers aren't respected. That's why I quit my job at the local hospital and now work at a warehouse. The fuckers took away our hazard pay because people didn't show up to work because they were sick. The kicker is I'm making more per hour at the warehouse than I would have even with the hazard pay bonus. On one hand, I believe that consenting adults should be allowed to do and charge each other for whatever they want to do behind closed doors. So long as all participants agree to the terms of the transaction, I think it should be legal and possible to do. On the other hand, this is an area that is filled to the brim with abuse, human trafficking, sex slavery, pedophilia, revenge porn, blackmail, rape, assault, etc. You could have what you think is a casual interaction with a sex worker, but have it be related to all sorts of crimes and problems that you don't know about. We as a society haven't been doing very well dealing with any of these issues. How often do you hear a story about sex trafficking and think to yourself, I'm glad that things worked out so well, and everything was handled correctly, and law enforcement was so proactive about it? I know I don't think that very much. And this is not be ragging on police, by the way, it's just a complicated set of problems and we aren't well equipped right now as a society for dealing with it. I would love to see all sorts of sex work be legalized, legitimized and respected. Unfortunately, I think that we have to lay a lot of groundwork and create a lot of safeguards first before that's going to happen. Legalizing it is part of safeguards. We reach more safety by regulation. You can't regulate something through law if it was never legal to begin with. Bingo. It's like how legalizing hard drugs and providing treatment drastically lowers the amount of addiction. Work is work. We are all getting fucked one way or another. Everyone's a whore, Grace. We just sell different parts of ourselves. Thomas Shelby. When New Zealand legalized prostitution, the Christians didn't like it for a week, then nothing went wrong, so we all forgot about it. This is legalizing most things. I live in Michigan and I can't tell you how many public safety meetings I had to go to while we legalized weed. Now, 2 years in, no one gives an F. None of the horrible worries came to fruition and things are fine. Even the people who were outraged have moved on to other concerns. Yep, same with gay marriage. Remember how it was going to destroy the sanctity of marriage and lead to a wave of people turning homosexual and people marrying animals. Turns out all that happens is a bunch of people get to live happier lives, and sometimes a baker gets pissy over a cake they don't want to bake. It's almost like people really driving the cause never really cared that much, and it was just a tool to whip dumb people into a frenzy over while voting against their own best interests. Yeah, if they pay taxes, then why not? Taxes aside, a regulated and unionized industry drastically increases safety. Keeping sex work illegal is immoral IMO. I think sex work is extremely complicated and requires a multifaceted discussion of the various circumstances that may lead a person to consider sex work as their form of employment. I think that in today's economic climate, most individuals that engage in sex work do so because their economic status is precarious and they have no other means to attain enough money to meet their needs. This includes single parents, people attending school, drug users, individuals with mental health problems, etc. To me, those individuals are being systemically exploited because the social system under which they live does not provide enough security for them to meet their needs without resorting to a form of employment that is, essentially, a last resort. Most of these individuals being female as well highlights a huge disproportion between the sacrifices that women need to make in relation to men. If, however, and in theory, all of those economic and social insecurities were removed and those individuals' well-being was adequately taken care of by the necessary social structure, basic income, schooling, food, housing, mental health support, drug rehabilitation programs, etc., then those individuals are fully empowered to make the decision to pursue sex work as their line of employment. In short, when sex work is not a last resort but an empowered, informed, consenting choice, then it is perfectly acceptable and rules and regulations should support the individuals that make that choice for themselves. I have not mentioned human trafficking as part of this because obviously, regardless of circumstance, that scenario is wrong and nothing can change to make it morally or ethically acceptable. I think you really nailed it here. I really liked your argument. Sometimes I see black or white arguments regarding this topic, however you talked about an important aspect, the last resort problem. Hopefully we as a society can improve ourselves and provide everyone the fundamental necessities for well-being, and perhaps even go further. Honestly, I think the world we live in is too okay with sexualizing everything that we want to pretend fucking for money doesn't harm the mind. Porn actresses have come out speaking of the terrible things that go on behind the scenes and no one cares. And that's from the well-known. Not even the girls trying to make some quick money. If it wasn't mostly drug addicts or previously abused people getting into it, then maybe. But we know majority of sex workers aren't this mystical sex-free hippie we want to pretend they are. I would prefer people who want to get into the sex industry have another way of making money that won't destroy their sense of self. I agree. Sex is more than just an act. What's worse? Getting punched in the face and breaking your nose, or getting raped but without any physical damage. Let's pretend there's no vaginal tearing at sea just for argument's sake. Obviously being raped is leagues worse. What's worse, your significant other cheating on you, or your best friend lying to you about something important? Cheating is a huge deal. Does a relationship significantly change between two people after they have sex? Of course. It's so obvious, but people act like it isn't. I don't know why anyone would downvote you. I'm a SAS survivor, and sex really is more than just an act. I'm pretty progressive, and would treat people with respect unless they were out there harming others, but sex is a powerful thing and I don't know why people try to pretend like it's not. Totally agree. I don't understand why so many people talk about it as if most of sex workers are there by free will.